Now riding with Steel Horse, and there are a few things that I would like to discuss with those who are considering entering into the trucking industry, right? One, why did I get into trucking, right? Why I left the previous industry that I was a part of. How do you enter into the trucking industry? And then planning. And this is like family stuff, right? Whether you're a single guy or whether you're entering into the trucking industry and you are a family man, structure, etc. And then lastly, what should you expect as a rookie driver? So, why did I get into the trucking industry? One, I come from a blue collar family, a blue collar background. All I did was watch people who bust their behinds to go ahead and make a living and were successful at what they did, right? It also gave me a sense of a work ethic and really just working and doing and trying hard and making things happen, pulling myself up by my own bootstraps, etc. I hated being behind the desk. I could not stand being stuck to a single point, just being tethered and anchored to this one area for however many hours through the day. It didn't work for my attention span whatsoever, right? I had to move around. I have to move around. That's it. Um, and trucking is a thing. Well, yes, I'm sitting in this one space for hours at a time, but I'm still moving. I'm still experiencing different situations every second of the day. Things change in a matter of seconds when you're out on the road. Scenery changes when you're out on the road. You see different things. It's just way different than sitting behind a desk day in and day out, right? I was also at a point where I needed the freedom of decisions, right? My previous industry, it was certain things had to be channeled up to a supervisory level in order to gain approval for things to move forward. Now, when you have 15 people, 10 people, even eight, some as small as 8 people, also doing the same thing, it's going to take time for your approval to come back down because the supervisors also got their own things that they're dealing with and they have their own jobs they have to do outside of what you as the individual worker needs. So bureaucracy and red tape is something that really gets underneath my skin. I need things to just go ahead and keep it moving, right? And also I did fall for that trucker shortage myth where they're saying that there was not enough drivers to keep this freight moving, but there's more than enough drivers to keep the freight moving. But even still, there's plenty of money and plenty of freight to be moved, plenty of money to be made, right? At this moment in time. Now, the previous industry that I was a part of was the insurance industry. I was a claims adjuster for two different insurance companies. For one, I went from being a claims adjuster to being the pretty much vehicle damage estimator or whatever it's called. I don't remember now. But long story longer, I would be the one that if you had a total loss, I'd sit there and tell you your car's a total loss and this is how much it's worth and this is what we're paying for it. Or it's going to take this amount of money for your vehicle to be fixed, right? Why I left was it became a complete drag on my emotions and my mental state, right? You have people at their worst. You have people where they're at their most entitled. I've seen situations from as small as people who lie and be like, hey, this person came into my lane. They could see that you're right there when they hit your damn quarter panel. I'm sorry, but it was your quarter panel, and then the damages to this person's fender. And there's no way I'm looking directly at a car. I'm going to say, I need to be in the right lane from the middle lane and drive directly into your quarter panel. It is more likely than not that you tried to go into the left lane and your mirrors weren't set up correctly. Therefore, you had a blind spot or you didn't look at all and just wanted to rush over and get into this middle lane. But that's neither here nor there, right? Um, I tried my hardest to look out for people while I was in that industry, right? Legitimately, from a good place and from a good heart, look out for people. Look out for the amount of money that was going to be paid out for their total loss, et cetera, et cetera. But it's something that's not always seen. It's not a glorified position. Not that I was looking for a glorified position, right? But I'll give you a good example here. The last person that I dealt with and what made me quit, uh, it was a woman that had, I think she had bent her rims or something like that, and it should have been cut and dry. I should have had that done within 10 minutes, right? Hey, she needs to get I took the pictures, I uploaded the pictures to the system. She needs to have her rims changed out because she bent her rims for whatever the story was. Send it up for supervisor approval. Supervisor hits me back. Hey, she needs to answer this question and that question. Why is this here and that's not there? And why is it switched around? And why is it was in the shop for about 3 days. She was ready on that third day to come pick up her car, and I still hadn't gotten approval for it, right? But whatever. She was upset, and she made it a public issue, which I then was like, I'm sick of this. I'm done. I tried my hardest to make sure that this woman was looked out for, and I didn't talk to her as much as I talked to other people. But I was trying to make it work for her, and it was caught up in bureaucracy. I just looked at my old lady. I said, look, I'm going downstairs and I'm getting in this company car. I'm putting all my computer equipment in there. Follow me down to the office. I'm dropping all of this off, and then you're going to take me up to the CDL school. I went to the CDL school that day, and they told me exactly what needs to be done. I went down. I took a day and a half to study, went and got my CDL permit, and was off and running and flying from there then on. All right. How do you enter trucking? Right. Perfect segue. So first and foremost, for whatever state you're in, you want to make sure you're studying for that state specific test. Get that CDL permit, and then now you're ready to actually practice in a truck. So you're going to figure out what school you want to go to in your area, and you're able to go ahead and practice in the equipment. Now you're going to talk to those schools and see what their expectations are as far as financing. Now there's two ways to make money. You can have money make money, or you can have your time make that money. Now, it does take money to make money, right? So you're going to have options here. If you're a veteran, you can use your VA benefits at some of these schools to go ahead and get your CDL, and there's no out of pocket for you. However, if you're not a veteran and you don't have some type of outside financing, some cities, some states, certain municipalities, they will give you taxpayer funded financing to go ahead and get that CDL. Some of them, like I know Newport News, Virginia, for example, if they get you your CDL, you're stuck to Newport News. You're not using that CDL outside of it. So figure that out as well. And you're looking at state and city funded things. And then you have some in-house financing from some of these schools as well, right? With that, when you're looking at companies, sometimes these companies will allow you to get your CDL through them, but at that point you're tethered to some of the companies. Some companies say you have to stay with us for a year if we help you get your CDL, and you have other companies that'll say we'll help you get your CDL. Every 3 months or every 6 months or however long, we're going to drop it down a few percentage points as to what you're going to owe us if you decide this isn't the right decision for you, it's not the right fit. So if you stay with us for 3 months, 25, another 3 months, it's going to go down 25% as to what you owe us, all the way down to you owe them nothing at all anymore. All right. So you're going to have to find out how you want to do your financing to earn that CDL. Uh, Again, choosing the best company for you as well, right? That brings me into choosing your niche. You can knock some of these things out of the park as you're entering into trucking. Do you want to get your tanker endorsement, where you see these people driving around all types of things, water, nitrogen, etc.? Do you want to get your hazmat endorsement? Do you want to get your tanker and your hazmat endorsement, and then you can be one of those guys that you see driving around with the tanker on the back that's got all of the placards on there as well, showing flammable, explosive, whatever. Um, you have different niches in the trucking industry. You have flatbed, you have drive-in, you have tanker and hazmat. You have your buses, etc. All right, but I'm coming from a Class A perspective of just truck driving. Um, which brings me also to the last point. Once you figure out what your niche is, once you figure out how you're going to pay all of this off, once you figure out how you want to enter into the industry, now you have to start planning. Are you single? Are you one of those guys who are going to run nonstop for 6 months? You're never gonna you're gonna give up your apartment and you're gonna live in your truck and you're just gonna save this money up. That is an option. Are you a family man? Right? What I do is I sit down, and I have sat down in the past with my family, and we have almost like business meetings. So we'll come up with a plan, what we all want to see achieved within the next year, for example. And we'll break that up into little bite-sized chunks. And then we come up with the metrics on how we're going to measure whether or not we're getting close. And I'll say, all right, the way I run personally, I can be home midweek from time to time, but I'm mostly home every weekend, right? Now, you have people that's going to be out there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks before they even get just 2 days home to spend with their family. This is a discussion that's going to have to be had with them. And it's going to be uncomfortable for a year. This is temporary. This is the amount of money that we're trying to put to the side so I can get my own truck, so we can move to this area, so that I can go to this company where I'm going to be home every night or I'm going to be home every weekend. But we're working our way up to something larger. Don't just go into a company and then hope for the best. Don't just go into an industry and then just hope for the best, right? Do what fits your family structure. If you are that family guy, the single guys don't really have to worry about that. They can get out there and they can keep it moving as much as they want to, right? But your family has to know that this is going to be uncomfortable, and you have to put a time period of uncomfortability on there for them, so that expectation is already there. And then as you're hitting certain points and certain metrics, let's say you wanted to save up $500 from every check or whatever, you're going to, when next time you get to sit down with them, show them, boom, this is where we're at. This is where we're at now. Are you doing what you're supposed to do from your side? Blah, 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 blah. This, that, and the third, whatever, right? So that they can have that visualization to see that what you said was going to happen is absolutely working and it's happening, and put a calendar out so they know this is how much time we have left to see or experience this discomfort of daddy or mommy not being here as often as we would possibly like. Now, as a rookie driver, what should you expect? Stupid decisions, stupid mistakes, stuff that shouldn't happen, right? As long as you're not out there hitting anybody, running into anything, it's not that big of a deal. And I'll give you an example on myself, right? I had received a dispatch, and this is something I like to do when I'm doing my trip planning. If they say, for example, you're going from Prattville, Alabama up to Toledo, Ohio, I will look at the shipper in Prattville on Google Maps, and then I'll look at the receiver in Toledo on Google Maps. So what am I looking for? Is there parking? If there's not parking, how close is the parking to the shipper or the receiver. Is there a place that I could turn around safely should I miss an exit? Is there a place that I could turn around safely should I miss the entrance of the shipper or receiver? And if so, how many gates did a shipper or receiver have right on their property? Which gate am I pulling into? Let's do the Google Street View, etc., etc. So for this one example, I did all of that. I saw that there were 2 turnarounds that I could possibly use. Get to the shipper, pull in, they tell me to sit somewhere, and I had noticed it was way more trucks than I've ever seen at this shipper. And they come to me finally and they tell me, hey, there's too many trucks here, but we have an overflow lot where we could get you loaded as well. This is the address. Head down toward the overflow lot, no problem. I look at the fence, there's only one fence. It says no admittance on the fence. So I was like, let me go down to this first turnaround that I saw. Hard surface, hard pavement. Make that turnaround. I'm going to pay around this corner. As I see it says no admittance, let me see if there's a second entrance over here. No, there's not. So let me go to the second turnaround that I know about. Did not hit me that it's been raining for 3 days straight. And this second turnaround I could see had little flags out there on Google Maps, and it looked like a farmer's market, and maybe nobody's out there except for this one watermelon salesman, because it's freaking downpouring, and this is the first time we're having a break from the rain to it being a drizzle in 3 days in that area. Get in there, turning around. I'm doing good. I'm not deep into the lot, mind you, and then lost traction. And it's not going anywhere. So I tried some wood boards, not going anywhere. I didn't dig myself deep, but it was still a $600 mistake that had to come out of my paycheck because the record service had to come out there and get me dragged out of that muddy surface. And I've heard everybody uses that as a turnaround. But over the past 3 days, you're the second truck to get stuck. And that could have been highly avoided if I would have realized it's been 3 days of straight rain. It's a dirt lot. If I would have stayed on that hard surface, I could have called the shipper and said, hey, is this the correct gate I'm supposed to be using? It says no admittance on there, and they could have gave me a yay or a nay and told me the correct way to get in there. I could have found the pilot that was about 6 or 7 miles away and wouldn't have had to worry about using up too much fuel, and wouldn't have had to worry about too much of like an out of route situation, right? And the last thing that you're going to have to worry about is the drive. There's a lot more, but these are just specific examples. The driver's blues. Now, the driver's blues can be it can start from, all right, you're a flatbedder, right? You decided to get in as a flatbedder. It took me 4 hours to secure this load. This is my second week. I have 3 hours left on my clock. I'm not going to make it anywhere near my receiver tonight. I'm going to have to drive for another 5 hours tomorrow. Now I'm just chasing my clock, and now I'm hoping I can make it home on Friday. If not, then my reset's going to be messed up for the weekend, because now I'm making it home on Saturday or too late on a Friday, and I'm only getting to spend a day with the family. If you stick to it, this is what a driver told me that I was working next to, tarping next to one evening. If you stick to it, you're going to only get better. You're going to get quicker at it, right? You're going to learn how to run your clock the correct way. It's going to get smoother, right? But you have to stick to it. You have to realize that sacrifices have to be made in order to get that money rolling in. Everybody's going to make sacrifices. What's his name? Freaking owner of Amazon that I can't. Jeff Bezos. He had to make sacrifices. He had long hours to build a company up to where it's built up to now. He missed out on time as well from his family. We're all going to miss out on plays. We're all going to miss out on basketball and football games. But it's temporary. Right? As long as you have that roadmap, you may hit a detour, but as long as there's a roadmap, you can figure a way around that detour if you have an appropriate roadmap. Next video, we're going to go ahead and talk about things that you can expect to run into on the road, traffic wise, weather wise, etc., etc. So look out for the next one. All right. This is Steel Horse. Keep rolling. Before I take off here, though, if you enjoyed the content, if you feel like you took something from it, please consider liking the video and also subscribing. Until then, y'all go ahead and stay blessed.